We're ready to start section 6, and section 6 is called 3-stitch checkerboards. We've already done the vertical stripes here. At least that's what she calls that stitch. And this is the shawl that was done by Arnie Grabowski. It is called the, let me get to the first page, the name of it. It is the Stitch Along Winter 2007 Mitered Corner Shawl. So for this one, your forward passes is we did the purl stitches. As you remember, you always do the last purl stitch and then you do another one that's a purl stitch. So the stitch repeat is this. We need to remember to do our edge increases. Okay. Need to remember to do our edge stitch increase, which begins with a Tunisian simple stitch here, and then a full stitch in between. And then we begin that stitch pattern, which consists of 3 Tunisian purl stitches and 3 Tunisian knit stitches. So you start with 3 Tunisian knit stitches, which is you bring the yarn in front, go through the post, pull up a loop, and that's 3. And then you do 3 knit stitches, which is in between both of the bars, front to back. Pull up a stitch, 2, and 3, and then again 3 purl stitches. And then 3 knit. And you're just going to repeat that all the way up to the center point. And I'm going to do that, and I'll meet you when I get to that point. Now I'm up to the center, and here where the yarn over was of the previous row, right there, we're going to do a full stitch. Then we will yarn, so I unravel my yarn. Then we will yarn over and do the extended knit stitch, just simply that. Then chain 1, yarn over, go into this next stitch here, full stitch, and that is the yarn over of the previous row. And then we start our pattern again, which is simply 3 purl stitches, followed by 3 knit stitches. And we'll do that all the way down this side until we get to the end. And I'll meet up with you when I get to the end. And then we will do the return pass. Okay, I'm coming up to the end. I've done 3 purl stitches. And I've got 3 stitches here. So we're going to do the knit stitch. Now, normally our last part, you notice I've only done two knit stitches. This is where I'm going to tell you, don't get so caught up and so wound up in this pattern that you cannot follow the normal increases. Our normal increase at the end is a Tunisian simple stitch. Yes, I only have 2 knit stitches. It will be okay. And then the full stitch under the bar, and then finish that normal stitch like we do for the neat close, going through both of those loops, pull up a loop. And then your return pass is the same normal return basic pass, which is that chain 1, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, all the way to the end. And then once we get to that end, we'll get to the next section of this, because there are a couple of different rows that you're going to do. And this is row B, which is the normal 3 purl stitches, 3 knit stitches, okay? And then there are 2 rows where you're going to do something a little different, but we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, I've returned back to the side to start picking up the stitches. And of course, we're going to do our normal increase, which is Tunisian simple stitch, then a full stitch. Now here we have to remember we're going to have to do what Arnie calls the trick. Now, I don't like the way that she puts that, but hopefully I can explain what we're doing here. With a checkerboard, we're going to do several rows of the same stitch pattern. In other words, it's kind of like when we do the waffle stitch in crochet. We do so many stitches as a front post, so many as a back post. We've done 3 here as a purl stitch and 3 knit stitches. We're going to continue that for two more rows. However, since we've had an increase here with this full stitch, we have to decide what to do with that stitch. Now, since I want the purls to be here and separated, I am going to do a knit stitch. And then I will start that pattern row repeat with 3 purl, 3 knit stitches. This is the only thing that is different with these, is when you are doing these rows, you kind of have to determine where your increases are, what stitches to put in them. So, and it's basically the same thing all the way up to the tip. Gonna follow that, you know, the pattern, which is 3 purl stitches, then, oops, trying to do another purl, then 3 knit stitches, then 3 purl, 3 knit stitches, and then your increase. Now you're going to do that for a total of 3 rows, so that you have a little bit of a pattern here with the knit stitches and the purls for a total of 3 rows. So I'm going to do that for the next 2 rows off camera. I hope that you understand that. And then we will come back through and do the next 3 rows. But like I said, when you get to that, what she calls the trick, you know, I don't know if I really like it as a trick, the way that she puts that word. I would call it, you want to do whatever the opposite was or whatever the previous stitch would have been. But that doesn't explain it either. So, you know, you can determine what you want to do. But we're only going to do 6 rows of this pattern. And 3 of those first rows are the 3 purl stitches, 3 knit stitches. All right. I'll get this done for the next 2 rows, and then I'll come back and we'll do rows E, F, and G. Okay. Now, we've done those rows where we've got the 3 purl and the 3 knit stitches all along here. Now, the next 3 rows are going to be done the opposite, which basically means we're still going to do our increase here and then the full stitch. And then here, as you can see, I had done knit stitches, so I will do that knit stitch there. I would have, however, we are now going to be doing the opposite, which means we would be doing 3 knit stitches, 3 purl stitches. So I do have 3 stitches here that are already knit. So I'm actually going to purl those 3 stitches. And this just happened to work out that way, which is great. And then we will begin that pattern, which is 3 knit, followed by 3 purl. And you'll do that all the way across for 3 rows. Now the only difference, like I said, is you're going to have to figure out those tricks where you've increased the rows. You'll have to decide what stitch you're going to put in there. And most likely, when I come back and after I've already done this, I'm going to have this stitch here that will most likely be a knit stitch. And then I will repeat the purl stitch, knit 3, purl stitch, knit 3. So your row pattern repeat for rows E, F, and G are to do your edge increases, 3 knit stitches, and 3 purls. But you also have to take into consideration those stitches that you've added on that are extra throughout the whole pattern. And then your return passes as normal. And then that is the end of this section. She doesn't have you do it 2 or 3 times, and that's it. And so then to get ready for that next section, I'm going to do 3 rows of that, you know, basically the opposite stitch in each one of these. Guess I should word that. We're going to do the 3 knit stitches, 3 purl stitches. And then I will do an all purl row so that will create the break between the stitch combination, and then we'll be ready for the section 7. So I hope that kind of helps you a little bit if you're doing this pattern. If you're not doing this pattern, gives you something new to look at and see what I'm doing, and hope you enjoy that. But I do hope that you will give this pattern a try. It is fun. It's interesting to see the different stitches and to see how they come out together. And as you can see, I've done 2 purl rows between each of these, but I am going to start doing just 1 purl row because there are a few more sections to this. And I really don't want mine to be 9 foot across and 4.5 feet long. I may skip some of the sections, may not do some of them, but I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do those repeats as many times as what she has hers done. But it's coming along. This shawl is looking pretty good, and I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying playing with these Tunisian stitches, and I hope that you are enjoying this little bit of a series. All right, guys, that is it for this week. I will see you again next week when we do the honeycomb stitch, which uses the Tunisian reverse stitch and the Tunisian simple stitch. So that should be a little interesting to see that stitch. All right, guys, see you guys next week. Bye.